In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where golden savannas meet lush rainforests, lies Umoja, a village where unity thrives amidst diversity. Tribes, Zulu, Yoruba, Maasai, Ashanti and more, live side by side, sharing their cultures, languages and customs. Here, Nyasha, a young woman woven from the rich threads of Zulu and Yoruba heritage, stands as a symbol of compassion and wisdom. Nyasha, a young woman of 22, stands at the crossroads of these diverse cultures. Her mother, Amina, hails from the Yoruba people of Nigeria. Amina is a master weaver, her fingers dancing over the loom as she crafts intricate patterns that tell stories of her ancestors. Her father, Kabelo, is a proud Zulu warrior from South Africa, who once wielded a spear in battle but now uses his strength to mediate conflicts and build peace among the tribes. Nyasha grew up with a deep respect for her heritage. From her mother, she learned the importance of preserving tradition and the beauty of creating something with her own hands. From her father, she learned the value of courage, not in fighting, but in standing up for what is right and helping others. This unique blend of cultures shaped Nyasha into a compassionate and wise young woman, admired by all who knew her. But Nyasha's life was not without challenges. Living in a village where cultures converged, she often found herself at the center of disputes between neighbors with different customs and beliefs. Yet, with the patience she inherited from her mother and the strength from her father, she became a natural peacemaker, quietly earning the respect and trust of her community. One day, as the village elders gathered under the ancient baobab tree to discuss the coming harvest, ominous clouds began to gather on the horizon. The rains, which were usually plentiful, had been sparse that season, and the land was beginning to dry out. The crops were failing, and the rivers were shrinking, causing deep concern among the people of Umoja. The elders, representatives of the various tribes, knew that this was no ordinary drought. The land was suffering, and with it, the people were losing hope. They decided to call upon the wisdom of their ancestors and the strength of their traditions to find a solution. Nyasha, though young, was invited to this council as her reputation for wisdom had spread far beyond her years. She listened as the elders spoke of old rituals and sacrifices that could bring the rains back, but something in Nyasha's heart told her that the answer lay not in ancient practices, but in unity and cooperation. As the drought worsened, neighboring villages began to suffer as well. Food became scarce and tensions rose as people competed for the limited resources. Nyasha could not stand by and watch her people suffer. She made a decision that would change the course of her life and the lives of those around her. She would leave Umoja and travel across the continent, seeking knowledge, resources, and alliances that could help her village. It was a decision rooted in self-denial, as it meant leaving behind her family, her home, and the comforts of a familiar life. But Nyasha knew that her journey was necessary, not just for her people, but for all who were suffering. With the blessing of her parents and the elders, Nyasha set out on her journey. She carried with her a simple leather satchel, filled with the essentials: water, dried fruits, and a few woven pieces from her mother, as well as a small Zulu spear from her father, more as a symbol of protection than for battle. Nyasha's journey took her across vast landscapes, from the rolling hills of Ethiopia to the bustling markets of Senegal, from the deserts of Mali to the rainforests of the Congo. Everywhere she went, she sought out the wisdom of the local people, learning about their methods of water conservation, agriculture, and community organization. In Ethiopia, she learned from the Oromo people how to harvest water from the fog that rolled in from the mountains, using large nets that captured the moisture and funneled it into storage tanks. In Mali, she discovered the ancient technique of building terraces to conserve soil and water, allowing crops to grow even in the harshest conditions. And in the Congo, she witnessed the power of collective farming, where entire communities worked together to cultivate and share the land. As Nyasha traveled, she encountered many challenges: rough terrain, language barriers, and sometimes suspicion from those who did not know her. But her spirit of humility and her willingness to learn from others won her many friends and allies. Slowly, she began to piece together a plan that could save her village and perhaps others as well. One of the most important lessons Nyasha learned on her journey was the power of collaboration. She realized that the strength of Africa lay in its diversity, and that by bringing together the knowledge and resources of different cultures, they could overcome even the greatest challenges. In Senegal, she met a group of women who had formed a cooperative to sell their crafts in the global market. They taught Nyasha the importance of economic empowerment and how it could be used to uplift entire communities. Inspired by their success, Nyasha began to think of ways to create similar cooperatives in her village, bringing together artisans, farmers, and traders from different tribes. In Ghana, she visited a village where the Ashanti people had built a solar-powered irrigation system that allowed them to grow crops year-round. The system was a result of a collaboration between local engineers and international volunteers, and it had transformed the village's economy. Nyasha realized that technology, when combined with traditional knowledge, could be a powerful tool for change. Nyasha's journey was not just about gathering knowledge, but also about building relationships. She formed alliances with people from different cultures who shared her vision of a united Africa. Together, they began to work on a plan to bring relief to the drought-stricken regions, combining their resources and expertise. After many months of travel, Nyasha returned to Umoja, her heart filled with hope and her mind brimming with ideas. She was greeted with joy and relief by her family and friends who had worried about her safety during the long journey. But Nyasha had changed. She was no longer just the wise young woman from Umoja, but a leader who had gained the respect and support of people from across the continent. Nyasha wasted no time in putting her plan into action. She called a meeting of the village elders and shared with them the knowledge she had gained. She proposed that they form cooperatives to pool their resources and skills, and that they build an irrigation system to ensure a steady supply of water. She also suggested that they reach out to the neighboring villages to form a regional alliance, so that they could work together to overcome the drought. The elders, impressed by Nyasha's vision and determination, agreed to support her plan. Under her leadership, the people of Umoja began to work together like never before. The artisans, inspired by Nyasha's stories from Senegal, formed a cooperative to sell their crafts, using the profits to fund the construction of the irrigation system. The farmers, guided by the techniques Nyasha had learned in Mali and Ethiopia, began to plant new crops that were more resilient to drought. Nyasha also reached out to the leaders of the neighboring villages, inviting them to join the alliance. At first there was some resistance. Old rivalries and mistrust ran deep, but Nyasha, with her characteristic patience and humility, was able to mediate and bring them together. Slowly but surely, the alliance grew, and soon the entire region was working together to overcome the drought. As the months passed, the hard work of the people began to pay off. The irrigation system, powered by solar energy, brought water to the fields, and the crops began to grow again. The cooperatives flourished, bringing much-needed income to the villagers. And most importantly, the alliance between the villages created a sense of unity and solidarity that had never existed before. Nyasha's life of self-denial had created ripples of change that spread far beyond her own village. Her actions inspired others to think beyond their own needs and to work together for the common good. The drought, which had once threatened to destroy their way of life, had instead brought them closer together. Nyasha continued to lead by example, always putting the needs of others before her own. She became a respected figure, not just in Umoja, but throughout the region. Known for her wisdom, humility, and dedication to her people, her journey had taught her that true sacrificial living was not about losing oneself, but about finding strength in service to others. And so, the village of Umoja, once on the brink of despair, became a beacon of hope for all who heard its story. Nyasha's legacy of self-denial and unity would live on for generations, a testament to the power of compassion, collaboration, and the belief that together they could overcome any challenge.